Hello and welcome back to part 4. As usual, we're going to start right where we left off, so if you haven't seen any of the previous parts, there's a link to the playlist in the description below. So let's go ahead and find some other drone. Actually, I'll type in drone right now. See what comes up. Alright, got some subtle, ghostly drones. Ooh. I do like that, actually. Let's use that. Let's stick with that. Boom. Portal idle layer 2. Got those colors. Bam. Awesome. So let's see what part of this sound I want. Definitely that beefier section, so let me just cut. And I'll just take away some of it. Not doing anything too crazy here. Fade ins and fade outs. Let's see how that sounds. Maybe I'll choose a different section of this, but we'll see for now. Actually, let me turn it down because it's quite loud. Yeah, still turn it down. And I'll fade it in. Actually, what I'll do is I'll drag this back just a bit so it fades in as those initial sounds are ending. Move that over just a hair. And we'll shrink this just a bit. Okay, cool. So it's beefed up a little bit. Great. And now let's go on to kind of polish this up, and then we'll use all this material for the close. Before we go on to that, though, let me just hit play so you can hear what we have so far. Move this to the center. Neat. So it's sounding get better and better as we add more stuff, as we EQ, and as we add plugins. Is it perfect yet? Not even close. But this is the process of sound design. It's like making a sculpture. You just gradually chip away. So let's polish up this intro, and then we're going to use the same material and maybe even some of the same tracks for that final closing section. Retimed, all that sort of good stuff. So when I mentioned this earlier, you probably agree with that this reverb on these two especially sounds a little too much like it's coming from a swimming pool or kind of a concrete cube. So what we're going to do is start tweaking that. So I'm going to start with this sparkly bit that we had at the very beginning. Cool. So let's change that reverb just a little bit. So when things sound like they are coming from a concrete cube or are just generally too spacious or maybe even too reflective in this case, what I like to do in Pro R specifically, or maybe I can do this in other reverb plugins as well, but there are equivalents. I'll take this kind of distance knob and I'll usually turn it up to far and see how that sounds. That makes it sound a little bit less like it's a enclosed concrete cube that we are in, so we don't want that. And I'll turn the mix down a little bit as well, just so we don't hear too much of that. And I'll take some of those highs, or a lot of those highs rather, expand this, take a lot of those highs, and filter them out. That makes it a little more deal-withable. So that's what we're going to do with that, and we'll do a similar thing for this second track right here. I'll just solo it so you can hear it right now. So let's tweak that, and we're going to EQ that sound as well, because right now it's not quite right in terms of how it's sitting with the rest of the sounds that we have going on. So let's take this reverb. We'll do a similar thing. We'll go to far. I'll turn the reverb down a bit, the mix, and I'm going to make it so that those high frequencies are less pronounced. In fact, a lot of them are getting cut off. Turn that reverb knob to dark. And you know what? I'm going to crank this up just so I can hear what that sounds like. Okay, that's a little much, so I'm definitely going to turn this down. Too many highs still. And I don't think the lows really need to be cut out in any way, shape, or form. Cool, that's sounding better. And now what I'll do is I'll put an equalizer on that sound as well, and then a compressor after that. The order of plugins that you use does matter. So the signal flow goes from top to bottom. So in this case, we have a pitch shift going into a reverb, going into an equalizer. and switching these around will change up the sound a little bit, or in some cases a lot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just listen to this, I'm going to loop it, and what I'll do is EQ it while it's looping. So what I'm listening for is getting rid of some of those elements that sound a little too old school. I like that 70s sound, but I don't want it to cut through a little too much. So let's take a listen so you can hear what I mean. So I'm going to solo this band and sweep from left to right and show you what I mean. So what you're hearing is this band of sound soloed as I sweep from left to right. So there's some kind of gray snow sort of sound that I want to get rid of, which is right around here. Let's make it a little wider, see how that sounds. Some more on the high end that I also want to get rid of. Right around there. And I'm just curious, so I'm going to boost those lows. I'm just entirely playing around right now. I do kind of like what that's doing. I won't go too crazy because boosting lows can make everything really messy. Let's cut that down. I'm going to have something like this. So that's off. That's the EQ off. And now I'll turn it back on. Tames that sound down just a little bit, which is exactly what I wanted. And lastly, a compressor. So let's throw a compressor on there. I'll leave the auto gain on because I don't want it to really get any quieter or anything like that. Keep the attack and release. I'll make the attack faster, release can stay the same. Turn the ratio up. Okay, cool. That's a great place to leave this for now. Again, we may come back to it. There, those two sit much, much better now overall. Let's listen from the beginning. Great. Now, something I want to do as well in the intro is polish up that intro, because we have a cool kind of riser going on here, but it's not enough. I don't think it's enough to sound like this whole thing, this whole monolith is being full of energy. So let's take a look and see what we can find to fill that part out. So just to make sure that you understand what I mean right around here. Want something that fills that up a little bit more. And we're going to tweak this kind of reverse whoosh as well to make it sound more impactful. Okay, so let's find something to kind of layer under there. Let's go back to our old friend, energy, because there's a lot of good stuff in here. Ooh, there's a low end pulse. I actually wasn't expecting this, but actually I am going to add a new track with that. Let's drag it up. I actually want that as a layer underneath this kind of beep that we have at the beginning, this tone. So let's line that up, just see how these two sound together. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yes. I like that very much. So let's do this, some of this, fade in and fade out. And of course, some of that good fairy dust. Oh, wait. Let me rename things. This is very important. If I don't rename things, I'll die. And we'll recolor those. Doesn't matter what color they are to me, as long as they are colored, that they are a color that isn't gray. Okay. So let's add reverb. So we'll just copy and paste that one and then tweak it from there. I want that to be shorter. Neat. All right, so let's that over. Oh, I muted that video somehow. Cool. Much better. I'll make this a little shorter. Yeah, nice. Okay, that was just kind of a nice little detour, a nice little bonus. So let's get back to kind of beefing up these moments right here. Let me just do that. These moments right here with the color, this blue, coming in and filling up this monolith. So let's go back to energy, because there's a lot of great stuff in here. Cool. Nice. Yeah, okay, we'll use this as a layer for sure, but that's not the only thing we're going to use. Ooh, that's cool. Maybe a little too cheesy. Ooh, cool. Yeah, why not? That'll be a maybe as well. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think I can use some of that for this as well. Maybe not the impact, but other parts of it. Let's start working with these. Might not use all of them, but we shall see. Move this up just so it's clear for all of you. And of course, this needs to be renamed. Let's see what all this sounds like. So let's solo this. Yeah, I actually like that more than the intro. What's this? Let's cut the silence. Cool. I think we can use that. And let me turn this down because that looks really loud. All right. What if that's reversed? Yeah, all right. So let me time stretch the hell out of this one and see what that sounds like on its own. I love time stretching. So fun, so effective. All right. Cool. These seem like some helpful layers. I'll delete excess, but we might drag out and use some of it later. Who's to say? So let me tighten this up, sync it up, shrink it, and see what that sounds like. Let's just take these ones, solo them. Cool. Yeah, that's coming together. Neat. All right, that's where we're going to wrap up part 4 for today. Thank you so much for watching as usual. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter yet and you want to become a working professional in the game audio world, please do sign up because you'll get access to 2 free courses that I created to help jumpstart your career from a business point of view, teaching you how to network and get paid gigs while working as a game audio pro. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.